A log of truth both bold and grim, where lights grow thin and edges dim. True tales born on haunted tide, visions that winds and waves can't hide. I'm Captain Jord Green, ghost-touched and flame-born, once shaman of fire, now weathered in war. Through storm and spirit, fire and rain, I sail through memory, myth, and pain. Each story drifts through time and fear, with truth sailing ever near. From visions of old ones to nights of flame, I rhyme when spirits call my name. This is the Captain's Log, entry 1 of the series, The Fire That Walks Again. The years before the calendar and after the first wave. The sea is glass, the cedars breathe, and a fire is about to be asked to hold its breath. The village before the storm. Smoke curled slow from the longhouse vents. Cedar oil, salmon fat, and old laments. Children slept by the carved poles tall, grandmothers humming to night's soft fall. There walked among them a healer known, a prophet whose visions cut to bone. His hand stayed red with berry and clay, ears tuned close to what spirits say. He read the water's unblinking eye, he knew where eagle shadows fly. He felt the hush along the shore before a paddle counts to 4. He mended grief with leaf and song. He bound the weak, he righted wrong. And when the warriors boasted loud, he cautioned them against the crowd. Hold your strength like a hidden coast. The loudest drum invites the most. The wise man walks where shadows bend. The quiet power will not end. So passed the night, a silver sky, a newborn moon, no warning cry. The northern line. Then water spoke in arrow gleam, long blades of light on a single seam. No gull, no breeze, no drifting log, just paddles cutting through the fog. From northern seas the canoes came fast, their prows like knives their shadows cast. War paint fierce on faces stern, the drums of terror soon would burn. A runner gasped, a horn was blown, a dog barked twice, a baby moaned. Grandfathers braced, the young men stared, a shiver struck, no soul was spared. The watchfires grew, the blaze ran high, the water caught the ember's eye. And in the margin between breath, the village learned the steps of death. The break of doors. Cedar doors on rawhide hinges, splinters fly like winter's fringes. Smoke became a choking skin, where cries and terror tangled in. The raiders surged with shields of brass, their feet like hammers on the grass. They did not come for fish or trade, but for the fire the healer made. A copper edge flashed, a club came down, his shoulder rang like a hammered crown. He reached for chant, for root, for flame, but ropes were faster, ropes were shame. They bound his wrist with twisted hide, dragged him bleeding to the tide. The mothers wailed, the elders cried, the healer stood, though torn inside. The shaman in ropes. He told himself, the flame is you. A body's bark and split in two. One side falls and feeds the sand. One side walks to the waiting land. They shoved him hard across the stones. His knees kept time with ancient bones. A warrior hissed, quiet fire, as if his words could choke desire. They drove a stave beneath his chin, a leash of wood on living skin. The beach was cold, the dawn half born. The day had put its hunting horn. They thrust him deep in cedars cold, that vessel carved by hands of old. A friend of travel, yet a cell, it carried secrets all too well. And in the dark he made a vow. If flame must hide, it hides for now. If flame is smothered, it learns to breathe, like coals asleep beneath a sheath. Departure. The paddles beat like ravens' wings, not prophecy, but harsher things. Old resentments, hunger, oaths, unsettled debts, and sharpened loaths. Behind the cries, still cracked the beach. Ahead the sea denied all reach. The shoreline slipped like shedding skin. The people prayed to pull him in. He looked once back with eyes of tar and swore a vow to distant star. I'll walk again in another age. I'll find a thread and mend the page. The raiders heard no vow that night. Only the prow cut silver light. They saw a prize, a tool, a chain. They did not see the hidden flame. Above the gunwale barely seen, a fog grew strange, a ghostly sheen. It pressed the sea like quiet hands that knew the shape of future lands. Inside the canoe, they stowed him low, half prone, half bent, where cedar rebs still held their scent. He counted the beats between each stroke, knew who was strong, who strained, who spoke. The rope got deep, his breath grew small, each gasp a stone, each knot a wall. Yet somewhere under chest and bone, a cold refused to be alone. He thought of births he'd ushered through, of salmon paths that always knew, of cedar ropes once used to bind a grieving man who later found his child again in thawing streams. How loss returns in altered dreams. And so he whispered through his pain, if I am ash, I rise again. If I am chained, I still endure. The fire waits, the fire is sure. Doctrine of Embers. Mark this law the spirits keep. Ashes whisper, embers sleep. They wait in silence, breathe in rain, and gather strength beneath the strain. You can strike, you can bind, you can strip the shore, but flame becomes what it was before. Not gone, not lost, not washed away. It waits for another day. The first ending, we gained a headland, lost the bay. The coastline turned its face away. The village shrank to dots of grief, threaded through with cedar leaf. The warriors eased, the rhythm slowed. A gull became an omen's code. I felt the fog lay down its veil, a tender bruise across the gale. The world rearranged, refused to part, so he arranged his wounded heart. He let the body count its scars, he sent his promise to the stars. They thought they'd chained a healer's hand, they did not see a wider land. They thought they'd ended what he'd been, they only sealed the fire within. For when the embers learn to wait, they choose their door, they choose their aid. And when the tide rewrites the fen, the fire will rise and walk again. Throw us a line at ghostboatadventures@gmail.com. Subscribe to Sail with Shadow and Song. Keep the voyage afloat. Donation link is in the channel's description. This voyage we share through calm and gales, with ghostly crew and tattered sails. Fair winds and haunted harbors shout. Captain Jordan and his crew of ghosts over and out.